We have to understand, and I know a lot of you out there already do, and some of you still had high hopes. There is no deal in the world that will satisfy Trump. Even if we make a deal and he finds it something else that he can squeeze out of us, he'll go back on his own deal that he agreed to under his terms and say it wasn't good enough. We got to renegotiate. Hey, everybody, and welcome back. So, of course, we're repeating the same story over and over again. More tariffs on Canada for the most ridiculous reason in the world: forest fire air quality. Trump has put an additional 10% on Canadian goods. Keeps spouting about, 51st states, our sovereignty. He's also put tariffs on EU and other parts of the world, even though they have an agreement with the EU. Of course, everybody knows about how he hosed us on the Gordie Howe Bridge, how he's actually stealing from the Canadian, the government, from the Canadian taxpayers, because now we're going to have an issue of paying back the debts after whatever profits have been split with the American governments. So now that's increased our liability with that loan. And Mark Carney had no choice, because not only as the bridge was closed, because, Trump had control of the border and when we can open it, not only were we losing time to pay back that loan, $6.4 billion, but we were also losing economic growth for the travel that bridge would bring. So either we bleed two ways or we only bleed one way. And he had to take that shitty deal. Like, we could say here, and I would say, forget it, leave the bridge closed, let it stay closed. But then we're hurting more. We're losing more money, not only on the interest of the loan, but the economic benefits of the travel from industry, and then the businesses as well, on the Canadian side, on the travel, increased fuel costs, which are huge, and because of the Iran war, because of Trump. But the businesses would also lose on that in terms of more running time for their vehicles, more on fuel. So an economic benefit for the bridge to be open for them as well would have been lost. We have to understand, and I know a lot of you out there already do, and some of you still had high hopes. There is no deal in the world that will satisfy Trump. Even if we make a deal and he finds it something else that he can squeeze out of us, he'll go back on his own deal that he agreed to under his terms and say it wasn't good enough. We got to renegotiate. There's example after example after example of this happening. And we're going to listen to David Eby and his frustrations. He's saying the quiet part out loud, that the premiers, prime minister, all feel the same way. A lot of you thought we were going to have a deal with the U.S. As long as we get that deal with the U.S., we'd be fine. There is no deal. Let's take a look at what David Eby has to say, and we're going to talk more about it.
I'll say it again. I feel sorry for Americans. If you can't be friends with Canada, then you almost certainly do not have a friend anywhere in the world. And that is a very lonely place to be. Obviously, the news of the day is the president's recent decision to levy more tariffs on Canada for reasons known only to him. I'll say that this feels like an increasingly desperate and flailing approach to relationships with our country. There's no question it will hurt families in British Columbia. It'll hurt families that are connected with our wood manufacturing. It'll hurt families that are connected with producing alcoholic beverages. It will hurt our economy in British Columbia. But this attempt by the president to hurt Canadians, to, for some reason, attack our country, was entirely predictable. He will probably do it again. And there's no reason to believe that this is the bottom in terms of where he's willing to go. And that's why, as British Columbians and as Canadians, we have been working to diversify our trade relationships, going to India, going to China, going to Asia. That's why the Prime Minister and I signed an agreement that will deepen and increase the infrastructure needed for us to be able to participate in the global economy and be less dependent on the United States.
Yeah, there's no deal to be had. He knows it. Everybody knows it, and we're fed up. There was a hope. Okay, this is what the hope was, that they believed if Trump saw the damage these tariffs were doing between us and Mexico, what they were doing to the American people, that he would somehow open up his heart, um, and see the plight of his people and saying, this is not right. We can do this to China because they've been stealing a lot of our jobs. But here in North America, we're going to make our Kuzma deal stronger between Mexico and Canada and fair and whatever, which it is. But we can make it North America a manufacturing hub to supply the rest of the world where everybody's making money, not only Americans, not only Mexicans, and not only Canadians, but everybody will be making money, and we can rival and compete with China. Never happens, because he does not care about anybody. He does not even care about his own kids, didn't even go to his own son's wedding. Why would he care about the people who voted for him? Even the Iran war, that's increasing fuel costs, which is increasing inflation, which is increasing people having to spend more for less. He's still dropping bombs on Iran, keeping Iran the ability to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed, which is reduced 20 million barrels of oil a day to the global markets. The US, even Canada, cannot come close to the 20 million barrels a day to subsidize that. So people around the world are going to be rationing, which they are technically in certain parts, which people's lives are in danger now. And we haven't even hit the peak of this because we're still using reserves to flood the markets. Once those are gone, the things that we're going to see and the economy going to, like, the crash of the economy, world economy, is going to be, no one knows what's going to happen. And do you think this guy, which everybody's telling him, Trump, what's going to happen, he still hasn't done anything. So what deal is Canada going to get? That he doesn't care about the fire he's lit everywhere, the suffering he's created. Now, we're in a better position than we were, say, a year and a half ago because we made other trading partners, and that's what the rest of the world is doing, trading with each other and trying to reduce the reliance on the US. And I'm sorry for my American friends and family, that's going to hurt you more than us. Because even when he's gone, hopefully sooner than later, because his health is not good, the rest of the world, yes, will continue to buy from you, but not at the rate that we were buying from you before. So you guys are going to take longer to recover. Not only that, but the social services that he's cut on you guys. So yes, we're suffering, but you guys are going to be suffering more. And like David Eby said, it's sad that your leader thinks we are the enemy. And if you think Canada is the enemy, you don't have a friend in the world. Those are good words by David Eby. Not a friend in the world. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I know Doug Ford is like, that's it. Cut off the energy, cut off the flow of oil, cut off electricity sent to the U.S. and everything else. Fight fire with fire. And we can do that. The problem is do we want to face the consequences of those actions? Because what do you think Trump's going to do? He'll close the border, he'll shut everything down. And the businesses that are still doing business with the US are not set up yet. We still, like David Eby has said, we're making deals with other partners that are willing to trade with us, that are more reliable. Same thing with Mark Carney. But we're better off than we were a year and a half ago, but we're still in a transition, and if things still take time. So cutting things off and shutting businesses down is easy. Like, it takes 2 seconds to shut a business down, especially if they're running with razor thin margins, don't have a lot in the bank to tide them over through rough times. So if we go down that route, we as a nation have to be prepared of the economic blowback, which we are not technically. And Trump knows that because our leaders care about the people. You can have differences on how we run our country and everything else, but at the end of the day, even Pierre Poilievre, like, I despise him, but he still cares for the people and wouldn't pull the trigger on this. Trump would do it in a heartbeat because it's ego, has nothing to do with the people. Never has been, never will be. So he has no problem shutting the borders down. He again, examples of increasing the cost. He's basically telling the people, just deal with it. So our leaders are not willing to do that. So we're gonna have to eat crow. Whatever deal, hopefully they could postpone these negotiations as long as possible. That maybe things will take care of itself, and he will no longer be a leader. But if we can't, whatever deal we're gonna get, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. So we need to intensify our trade partners and not rely on the American economy as much as we have to right now. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. If he survives the next 2 years and doesn't leave, it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. But we will prevail, and we will be better for it at the end of this. Well, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys feel and what your frustrations are with our neighbors or ex-neighbors that we were able to rely on. And again, for all my friends and family in the U.S., love you guys, but us Canadians are going to remember this for a while, because at the end of the day, you guys voted for this guy, especially after the first round he had was not good. You decided to give him another chance. There's room for forgiveness. There's always room for forgiveness. I'm never saying that Canadians won't forgive, but it's going to take a bit of time, and you're going to have to give us some time. Anyways, guys, take care. We'll talk later.